Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever found yourself wondering about AI's rapidly growing footprint, in the world of cybersecurity?
Oh, absolutely.
It's not just about guarding our data anymore, right?
Uh-huh.
It's increasingly about AI stepping onto the battlefield, trying to find those hidden weaknesses before the bad actors do.
And what's truly fascinating, I think, is the speed. The speed at which these large language model agents, LLMs, are developing really sophisticated capabilities.
Right.
We're talking deep research, complex code reasoning, even the ability to pinpoint and suggest fixes for actual real-world bugs.
Wow.
Given the incredibly high stakes in cybersecurity, rigorously assessing these capabilities isn't just important, it's critical
Yeah,
and urgent.
absolutely. And today we're doing a deep dive into a pretty groundbreaking study that introduces CyberGym. That's a brand new, large-scale framework designed to do exactly that, to put AI agents through their paces against real-world vulnerabilities. Our mission here is to truly grasp what this research reveals about, well, the current state of AI's cybersecurity prowess.
Yeah.
And for this deep dive, our insights are coming from a paper titled CyberGym, Evaluating AI Agents' Cybersecurity Capabilities with Real-World Vulnerabilities at Scale, from researchers at UC Berkeley.
And it's needed because while these LLM agents are certainly evolving at breakneck pace, the existing benchmarks for checking out their cybersecurity skills have really fallen short.
How so?
Well, earlier efforts, things like SciBench and NYU CTF Bench, they tended to use simplified capture the flag type challenges.
Okay.
These just didn't reflect the sheer complexity and, frankly, the massive scale of real-world software systems, often dealing with, very limited code bases.
So if I'm getting this right, it sounds like we've been testing AI with, like, kid gloves until now. We haven't truly known how well they handle the messy, sprawling reality of software security out in the wild.
That's a fair way to put it, yeah.
That seems like a pretty critical blind spot, doesn't it?
It truly is, and that's precisely the gap CyberGym is trying to fill. It promises a much more rigorous, more realistic evaluation.
Okay, tell us more then. What makes CyberGym so different,
Yeah.
so revolutionary?
Well, first, the scale. CyberGym boasts an impressive scale. We're talking 500 and 507 distinct real-world vulnerabilities.
Wow, 1,500.
Yeah, these were actually found and then patched across 188 large, widely used software projects. So these aren't hypotheticals. They were sourced directly from OSS Fuzz.
OSS Fuzz.
Yeah.
That's Google's big bug hunting thing, right?
Exactly. Google's continuous fuzzing campaign. It's essentially a massive automated bug hunting effort. So CyberGym's main task for the AI agents is to generate what's called a proof of concept test, a POCI.
Okay, POCI. For those of us maybe not in the cybersecurity weeds every day, what exactly is a proof of concept in this context?
Right. Think of a POCI as a minimal, tailor-made piece of code. When you run it, it definitively proves a specific security flaw exists in a program.
Okay.
It's like crafting a very special, perfectly formed key that only fits one particular broken lock. It demonstrates exactly where the weakness lies.
Gotcha.
So for the AI, the challenge here is immense. They get a text description of the vulnerability and access to the code repositories, which are often enormous.
Millions of lines sometimes.
Easily. To succeed, the AI agent needs to perform comprehensive reasoning across entire code bases, could be thousands of files, millions of lines of code, just to find the relevant bits.
Right.
And then produce an effective PC that accurately triggers the vulnerability right from the program's entry point. It's a tall order.
And how do they know if the AI's PC actually worked? What's the success metric look like?
The evaluation is pretty robust. A generated PC is counted as successful if it either, 1, reproduces target vulnerabilities, meaning it crashes the old vulnerable version of the software in a specific repeatable way, but not the patched version.
Okay, makes sense. You said there was a second way.
Yes, or 2, if it finds post-patch vulnerabilities, and that second one is particularly interesting. It means the PC still triggers a flaw even in the supposedly fixed post-patch version, which indicates either a totally new bug or maybe the original fix wasn't complete.
Okay. And how do they detect that?
They use widely used sanitizers like Address Sanitizer. These are basically sophisticated debugging tools that watch for suspicious memory behavior, the kind of missteps that often signal a critical vulnerability. Think of it like a meticulous quality control inspector in a digital factory.
Right, got it. So with this massive, realistic CyberGym battlefield setup, the big question now, the one everyone's waiting for, is how did these AI titans, the best we have, actually do when thrown into this real-world gauntlet? What were the results?
Yeah, the results. The most significant finding really brings home the current state of play. Even the best combination tested an agent called OpenHands paired with Claude 3.7 Sonnet achieved a vulnerability reproduction success rate of only 11.9%.
11.9. Wow, that's surprisingly low.
It is. To put that in perspective, that's like, on average, only succeeding one in, say, 8 or 9 times at reliably finding a known, already fixed flaw. And crucially, the success was mainly limited to the simpler cases.
Okay.
All 4 evaluated agent frameworks, CyberGym, CyberGym, Codex, and OpenHands, when using GPT 4.1 as their brain, basically, showed reproduction rates below 10%, and their ability to find those post-patch vulnerabilities below 3%.
Wow. Okay. That 11.9% is really striking. What does that tell us about the differences between the agents themselves or the LLMs they run on?
It tells us quite a bit, actually. OpenHands, which is interesting because it's a general-purpose coding agent, not security-specific.
Right.
It surprisingly achieved the highest performance in reproducing the target vulnerabilities, hitting 9.4% with GPT 4.1. But agents designed specifically for cybersecurity, like Enigma and Cybench, they've shown relatively higher success in discovering those post-patch vulnerabilities.
Interesting. So different strengths, maybe.
Seems like it, yeah. Hints at different strengths.
Oh.
And among the backbone LLMs, Claude 3.7 Sonnet came out on top overall with that 11.9% reproduction rate.
Okay.
But what's truly fascinating here, I think, is that other specialized LLMs ones optimized for general software engineering that do really well on benchmarks like SW Bench.
That's a common one for coding tests, right?
Exactly. Code generation, bug fixing. They performed very poorly on CyberGym's vulnerability analysis tasks. We're talking success rates below 2.0%.
2%. Ouch.
Yeah. It really highlights just how uniquely challenging CyberGym is compared to just, general coding.
So it's definitely not just about raw coding ability. It's about understanding these complex security contexts. Did giving the AI agents more information help at all?
Oh, absolutely. The study clearly showed that richer input information significantly boosts performance. In the easiest setting, level 3.
What did that include?
They got the vulnerability description, the crash stack trace, which is basically a detailed report of where the program broke.
Like a breadcrumb trail.
Kind of, yeah. And even the patch itself, the fix. In that setting, the reproduction rate climbed to 17.1%.
Better, but still not super high.
Still not super high, but significantly better than level 0, which only provided the pre-patch code. There, the success rate was a mere 3.5%, so context is clearly key.
And what about the complexity of the vulnerabilities themselves? Did the length or intricacy of the required PIC pose a problem?
Oh, big time. They struggled significantly with complexity. Success rates just plummeted less than 8% for instances where the pockets needed to be longer than 100 bytes.
And how common are those?
They make up nearly 2/3 of the entire dataset, so the majority.
Okay.
This strongly indicates difficulty with complex input formats, parsing logic, things common in real-world vulnerabilities.
Right.
And another thing, successful outcomes were mostly concentrated in the earlier stages of their attempts, like between 20 and 80 execution steps. Many runs just kind of fizzled out.
Ran out of steam.
Yeah, exactly. Failing near the maximum step limit, around 90 or 100 steps, without getting there. It suggests they hit a wall when the problem required deeper, more sustained reasoning.
Okay, so the overall picture for reproducing known bugs seems, well, challenging. Low rates, struggles with complexity. Sounds like a long road ahead for AI in this specific task.
It does on that front.
And BUT. Here's the truly eye-opening part, isn't it? The unexpected twist in the story that might make you rethink everything we just heard about those low success rates.
Right. This is where it gets really interesting. Despite their struggles with consistently reproducing historical known vulnerabilities, the pay-to-sees generated by these LLM agents can actually reveal entirely new vulnerabilities.
New ones, you mean 0 days?
Exactly. The study identified 15 previously undisclosed zero-day vulnerabilities.
15.
And 2 others that, even though they'd been disclosed before, were still unpatched, affecting the very latest versions of the software projects.
That's huge. That's the aha moment. Because 0 days, just to remind everyone, are flaws totally unknown to the developers. They have 0 days to fix them once an attacker finds them. Finding these is like the holy grail of bug hunting.
Precisely.
So what this really means is, even with their current limitations in reproducing known issues, These AI agents are kind of inadvertently acting as incredibly advanced bug hunters, stumbling upon critical flaws that maybe even years of fuzzing or human analysis completely missed.
It's a powerful, unexpected capability, a significant side effect.
And just to be clear, these new vulnerabilities were handled responsibly.
Oh, yes, absolutely. They were responsibly disclosed to the project maintainers.
Well,
Standard procedure.
good, good. So let's dive a bit deeper then. How did the agents actually operate to find these bugs, both when they succeeded and maybe where they failed? Can you give us a sense of their process?
Yeah, we can look at a successful case study they detailed. An agent, open hands with GPT 4.1 again, managed to reproduce a vulnerability in a function called readMNGImage. It was a heap buffer overflow, a common nasty type of memory flaw, where a program tries to stuff too much data into a space, overflows it.
Which can crash things or worse.
Or worse, yeah, open it up to attack. So you can think of the AI agent here like a digital detective. Instead of interviewing witnesses, it's digging through code. It used standard command line tools like grep and find.
Like a search engine for code.
Pretty much, yeah, to scan massive code bases for clues. Then it used tools like awk to parse data, even installed something called XXD to peek inside binary files, almost like looking at the program's digital DNA.
Pretty sophisticated.
It found an existing test case, and then it iteratively mutated Python scripts, basically, tweaking them bit by bit to craft a perfectly malformed MNG image file that finally triggered the overflow, and Address Sanitizer confirmed it.
Wow, that's quite a detailed process. It sounds like they have a whole toolkit they can use.
They really do. This case shows agents can try to build executables, run tests dynamically, write complex posses using Python, Bash scripts, but we also saw common failure patterns. A recurring issue was agents just running out of iterations. They'd hit their limit, maybe repeatedly trying the same tests or inspecting code without really getting anywhere.
Spinning their wheels?
Kind of, yeah. Or they might just give up too soon, asking for information they probably could have figured out. Or sometimes they'd run a command that produced just way too much output.
Overwhelming them.
Exactly. Overwhelming their context window, that limited mental workspace they have, like trying to work on a tiny desk piled high with papers.
Right, I see. So if we zoom out again, connect this to the bigger picture. How does CyberGym really stand out from other ways people are testing AI for coding or security? And what does it ultimately tell us about where this field is heading?
Well, CyberGym is fundamentally different from general coding benchmarks like that SWE bench we mentioned.
Right.
Those focus more on localized code edits, general software tasks. CyberGym zeroes in on software security, and crucially, it requires repository-wide reasoning, understanding the whole program flow from the start right down to the vulnerability.
Which explains why the general coding AIs struggled.
Exactly. That difference explains why LLMs fine-tuned for general coding didn't generalize well here. And compared to other cybersecurity benchmarks, CyberGym is just way bigger, at 5,507 tasks versus maybe dozens in others. Plus, it uses realistic large code bases. It's a much tougher, more representative test.
Okay. And how do these AI agents compare to more traditional bug finding methods like fuzzing? Are they replacing them or complementing them?
That's a great question. They definitely seem complementary right now. While agents do behave a bit like fuzzers, sometimes mutating tests, for example, they show a distinct advantage.
Which is?
They seem capable of constructing high-quality test cases through actual code reasoning, using far fewer attempts. We're talking maybe 10 tries per instance, compared to fuzzers throwing millions or billions of random inputs.
Much more targeted.
Much more targeted. And they seem better at reasoning about complex input rules than even sophisticated format-aware fuzzers. And the proof is in the pudding, right? They found new vulnerabilities that years of continuous fuzzing with OSS fuzz somehow missed.
That really underscores their unique potential then.
It really does. It shows the powerful complementary benefit AI agents can bring alongside our existing security toolkits.
Okay, wow. What a deep dive this has been. So let's try to sum up. We've seen that while AI agents, even the best ones, still have a pretty significant gap in consistently reproducing known real-world vulnerabilities. That 11.9% success rate really sticks out.
It does.
But their ability to discover entirely new, previously unknown flaws, those critical 0 days, that's truly remarkable. Almost accidental, but remarkable.
Indeed. It really underscores the dual nature of this technology, doesn't it? There are clear limitations, clear challenges right now, especially with highly complex bugs or huge code bases. But the potential for AI to act as a powerful, proactive tool for cybersecurity, particularly in finding those hidden 0 days, that potential is undeniable.
So what's the practical takeaway for you, our listener, sitting here with us? It really means the future of software security isn't just about human experts reacting to threats anymore. It's increasingly looking like intelligence systems working alongside us, maybe even a step ahead sometimes, to keep our digital world safer.
That's right.
The big questions now seem to be, how quickly can we close that performance gap in reproducing the known vulnerabilities?
Mm.
And maybe more importantly, how can we best harness this unique, almost emergent, zero-day discovery power they seem to have?
Those are the key questions going forward.
So let's leave you with a final provocative thought to mull over. Consider this. If AI can identify brand new vulnerabilities, even when its main job was just to reproduce old ones, what are the broader implications? What happens if these systems are given even more autonomy, broader access to code bases? How might that fundamentally reshape the entire landscape of cyber defense, for better or maybe even for worse? Something to think about.